Welcome to Reality of the Rose with your host, Natalie Sprink.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 218 of Reality of the Rose. I'm your host, Natalie Sprink. Thanks for joining me today, where I talk a little about my own realities and a little bit of reality TV, or a lot of it, depending on the day and depending on the episode. So today, if you are watching, I apologize once again. I feel like I always choose the times in my day or in the week where I look like complete crap and I'm on video and I'm videoing myself. If you are just listening to this, feel grateful. But I am still out in Idaho. We're still out in Idaho, and we're still on our little 3-week stay out here. We go home this Saturday, so we have a few days left here yet. But I tend to never wear makeup when I am in Idaho, unless we're going to see other people. But we don't see other people that much out here because there's not much out here. Wish I could. I was going to try to open the window so you could see out, but it just ends up being a big glare. So, yeah. Anyway, and I don't feel like I wear that much makeup. This is just a random tangent. This is, I guess, my first reality. I don't wear that much makeup. And so I don't feel like usually I'm so made up, on a random day that I go into the office or, I'm going to be seeing people. But I think what makes me look so bad in my eyes, all right, I get that, this is in my eyes, is that because I, first of all, have trichotillomania, and I've talked about that on here before, which I have my little, instead of, I think I've talked about, I have talked about this on the podcast before. I have my little fidget toy that I've started using so that I don't pick up my eyelashes, and pull them out. And this thing, I got it on Etsy, and it is, I've turned a couple other people onto this as well, just because it's really fun to fidget with. I should put the link in my, it's not, believe me, I don't get any payment, or I don't get any reciprocation from linking this, but it is the best fidget toy in the world. It's like two magnetic things, and you can just move them up and down and across and flip them back and forth, and they stick together. I just love it. It helps me, but I feel like because of my trichotillomania, I just have sickly looking eyes. I feel like they're brown, and part of the brown is because I use Latisse, and I've started using a new eyelash serum, and I'm anxious to see if that helps, because it's supposed to not give you the discoloration in your eyelids. But I have dark eyes all the way around. And then obviously the older I get, the worse my bags get. Plus I don't have any, my eyelashes are not that dark too, because of the trichotillomania. Because when they regrow back, it's just not as thick and they're not as dark. And so I feel like I look sick all the time when I don't have makeup on, and I hate that. And I don't know if it's mostly just in my head or if other people see me without any eye makeup on and go, ew, we need something going on there, honey. Anyway, so out here, and then a lot of times when I'm back at home, I'll record on the weekends. And on the weekends, I really don't wear makeup unless I'm going somewhere either. So I don't know that, I don't know how other people, women are, of young, middle-aged, old, whatever, are with makeup. Everyone's different. But I personally don't feel like foundation-wise, I think I have a complexion, or I don't look at myself and go, oh my God, I need to put foundation on. I've never thought that. My skin is fairly good, I think. For me, it's mostly my eyes that I think need the makeup. And that gets worse with age, I think, just because of natural reasons. But anyway, so yeah, we're still out here in Idaho. I guess if I'm being 100% honest, I'm kind of getting ready to go back home because I really love it out here. It's absolutely gorgeous and it's very, very, very peaceful. But I get a bit bored and I am working while I'm out here. But to be honest, I don't know what I would do with my time if I wasn't working. Tim is able to have all of his little projects that he does around here. And like just for instance, a while ago he was like, "You want to help me wash the tractor?" Let me think. No. Uh, which God bless him. Like I guess he just wants the company, which I don't really know why because we're together like 24/7 while we're here. But like those are the kinds of things he loves to do, and he loves to like do all his little oil changes on all his little toys he has out here and like do shit with the lawn and like clean the brush out of this place and clean the brush out of that place and fix the fence here. Like all those, I mean, we only have like 4 acres here. So it's not like we have this like acres of ranch to like maintain, but like this is like his little farm haven. I don't Ranch Haven, let's call it that. And he finds all these things he loves to do out here. But, that's just like not my vibe. And so I was like, well, I really need to record a podcast. So thanks for the offer of washing the tractor. Actually, what I said was, why do you have to wash the tractor? Does everyone wash their tractors? I feel like that tractors aren't like, you don't just like wash those like you do your car. I feel like those are just supposed to be dirty. But this is Tim's rink we're talking about. And Tim's rink keeps every piece of equipment he has clean, like really clean, which I totally admire. I'm not criticizing him for that because like I'd rather have really nice everything than really junky, shitty everything. That's not something I have to worry about with my husband. Like he maintains all his shit to the hilt. He might have a lot of it, but he takes care of it all. So I definitely can't fault him for that. But it just always cracks me up because he'll even like wash the lawnmower and stuff. Yes, he really does. So like when he wants to wash the tractor, first of all, I don't even know how to run the tractor. And so I feel like I shouldn't have to wash it then because I didn't get it dirty. Like, you want to wash the window? I didn't get that dirty, but I usually end up cleaning it. So yeah, anyway, I kind of am anxious to get back home and get back to kind of my routine and my normal life. That's the other thing too. When I get out here, um, I'm a very routine person. Like I thrive on like this, everything being kind of, you know, set every day. And at home, like I always get up early and do my workout early and like before work and all that. And I do develop a new routine out here, but I don't know. I guess I can't explain really the difference because um I don't know. I'm a weirdo. I'm just a weirdo. But I guess I do miss a little bit more of not like where we live is some big urban metropolitan area by any stretch of the imagination. But, at least I travel to work and work with other people, and we have a grocery store like within 5 minutes, and it's not like 40 minutes away. Or, the bank I use is same thing, 5 minutes. We don't have much in our town, but we at least have a grocery store and a gas station and a bank and a couple restaurants, and you have a few conveniences at least. So I don't know. I just miss that, and yeah. So, that's that, which also, I guess I'll kind of like jump into that kind of relates to both of the topics I specifically was going to talk about today. One is like gender roles in like a marriage, I suppose. And it just feels like things are different. And I guess, that's natural and things change with every generation. But I think that I grew up with really defined, like your classic traditional general roles where, the like my mom did all the like cooking and cleaning and laundry and all of that. And my dad did like the outside stuff, and even like my mom was a teacher for a long time, but then she got to stay home with us kids, and my dad was the breadwinner, so to speak, and all that. And I feel like that changed more the generations than to my generation. I think even though there was plenty of women that worked, and weren't stay-at-home moms like when I was young and my mom was raising her kids, I think there was more people women in my generation that did work outside the home. And so both parents worked, and you sent your kids to daycare, and so like that part of the gender role, I think changed it a little bit, as far as there were like two breadwinners in the family then instead of one. And maybe part of that is because like the daycare cost is so high. You needed two people working to be able to pay for the daycare. I don't know. That wasn't really our situation. But what about also the things in your home? Like I would say I feel like I'm somewhere in between, because just from what I observe on like in social media with like kids, my own kids and other kids their age and things like that, I don't know the trends. I don't know any, hardcore concrete statistics on any of this. I'm just going through observations, but it feels like, so say for me, I would say that the traditional gender roles are still in place with Tim and I, because I definitely do, even though Tim is the better cook than me, and even though I don't like to cook, and if it were up to me, I wouldn't probably cook. I would just like have popcorn and grapes and oranges and cereal for my, all 3 meals of the day. I think though I still cook because my family, wants to eat, and, my family now being Tim and Tyler and me, but I still cook for them because they want to have a meal. They're not just going to eat grapes and popcorn and cereal for supper. And so I do most of the cooking. I do most of the house cleaning. I do most of the laundry. I don't do Tyler's laundry, but I do the laundry. And those traditional generals seem to stay put there. Like Tim will cook sometimes, and like I said, he's a better cook than me anyway, so I don't know why he doesn't cook more often. But then like he does all the maintenance around the house. Like, and if it honestly wouldn't be for him, a lot of it wouldn't get done. I sometimes in amazement of the things that he knows how to do. I'm like, how do you just know how to do that? Like, how do you know how to like patch that drywall, or how do you know how to like put the little to even like put the little heater thing in the gutters so the water doesn't freeze, and like I wouldn't even think to how I wouldn't know how to do that. I wouldn't be able to. I mean, I'm sure I would figure all these things out if I had to, but like my brain is not mechanical whatsoever, like at all. I would, because we have like a tractor, like the one that you wash. We have a tractor that he puts this big old snow plow behind, and that's what we plow our snow with in Wisconsin. I would have the first clue how to do that. Not even the first clue, and guaranteed I'd break it. But like that's another thing. He'll like, be snow plowing and something will break on the plow, and he'll be like, son of a bitch, and oh, it must be the grinder reel thing, Bob. I have no idea if that's even a word, but like it'll be broken and he'll know how to fix it. I'm like, how? And he doesn't YouTube it. That's the thing. Like, I guess I could figure it out because I could YouTube it, but somehow he just knows how to do that. How do you just know how to fix the grinder reel thingamabob? Again, I don't think that's a real part. I don't even know the names of the parts. So, or like if like, so we have a hot tub and the hot tub like stops working. He's like, oh, it must be the grinder reel thing. I bet I need to get the ratchet straw chair from the hardware store, you know, like to fix it. I don't know. That stuff amazes me. So I feel like we're better off in our gender roles the way we are because I don't have a freaking clue how to do any of that. So I feel very also blessed that he's a very much of a handyman and like can do all those things. But you know, and I don't feel like offended really. Like sometimes I'm like, why do I always have to do the goddamn cooking? I hate to cook and like blah blah blah, you know, but I suppose I'm pretty comfortable in that role. But then there's little things like taking care of the kids. Like let's use that one as example. I think that is something that has probably changed a lot from to this generation, like this current generation that is having kids, because I, you know, Tim did not change a diaper unless he absolutely had to. I breastfed my kids, and so I got up with them when they were little, like every single time to feed them. But even when I didn't, even when it was just a bottle, he never got up unless like I was gone, which rarely happened when the kids were that little. But I didn't care. I really didn't care. I never got pissed because of that. I always just enjoyed doing it. There was rarely a time. I can say that's one thing with me raising my kids where I mean, yes, I was tired, and yes, I would hear them crying on the little monitor, and I would be like, oh, I'm so tired. But I kind of did not mind getting up with them and just sitting with them because oh my God, that time just does not last very long. Um, so, but like he will self-admittedly say he didn't really enjoy like any of the kids, all five kids, until they were like two or three, because then you could like interact with them and play with them and talk to them and do that kind of stuff. So he's not like a baby dad, you know, like he doesn't enjoy the baby phase. And I know my dad was the same way, I'm sure. But I feel like in this day and age that, whoa, it is really windy outside. I'm in this day and age that the dads are more involved and more expected to be involved too. I just feel like, and also I don't know, like for instance, we have when Tyler was, I think, 3 weeks old, between 3 and 4 weeks old, Tim left to go on a bear hunt. So he's been a hunter since I've known him. That's always been known about him, and he loves it, and I'm glad he has it as something, you know, to get him like to clear his mind, and that he has that hobby. So I always was very, very supportive of it. I feel like I might have been more supportive than a lot of women actually, because he did a lot, was gone a lot, especially when the kids were younger. But Tyler was only between 3 and 4 weeks old when he left to go on a bear hunt, and actually out here in Idaho. And but I didn't really, I didn't care. Like I was like, yeah, that's fine, because I knew like I did most of the stuff anyway at that point in time. And my mom at the time just lived 10 minutes away if I needed anybody. And I really had all my family around. So it didn't bother me at all. And I don't know if that's a generational thing or not, but I feel like that's not the case anymore. And like, I know of a couple examples like directly now where I don't think that would happen, you know, if that were to happen close to after they're born, that the dad would be able to leave or leave without a lot of guilt. And I don't know. And that's fine. That's fine if that's what's, you know, whatever's good in their relationship, whatever you both are comfortable with. I think that is what you should do. But I do think that's just different in maybe this current generation that's having children now versus like mine, and especially like my parents. So I don't know. I'm just curious. You know, I know there's exceptions to the rules in every single generation, but sometimes I feel like I should be more put my foot down and be like, why do I have to always be the one to like, well, and let's be honest, everybody, after my last podcast episode, we know that I have to be the one to clean my kitchen and make sure my dishwasher is loaded correctly and that there's not gunk on the kitchen refrigerator handle. So that's my own weird OCD thing, not necessarily a gender role. That's just a Natalie like weirdo thing. So yeah, I do feel like I'm a little bit like I help mow the lawn. I don't mind mowing the lawn at all. And if Tim needs help with something and I can help him, like I'm happy to do it and I try to learn. But I am, again with my memory thing, like I'll be there, I'll watch him do something and I'll be like, oh, that doesn't seem that hard. I bet I could do that. But if it would happen a week later and I'd have to do it myself, you might as well forget it. YouTube it is. But yeah, so it's just kind of interesting. And, as far as like the cooking and cleaning and laundry part, I guess I don't really know who carries those same roles. Cause I know like with my sister and my sister-in-law and brother, I think like he has always done the laundry. And maybe it's just like, I think there's exceptions like that there's certain things that one or other of the genders do. But I don't know if I know absolutely anybody where the genders are absolutely reversed and where the men and the women literally do everything. Both of them do everything. Like where, or that it's totally flipped. I'm sorry, that it's totally flipped. Well, like the man does all the cooking, cleaning, childcare, laundry, and then the woman does all of the like fix it stuff, honeydew stuff, like is the main breadwinner, is like does all of those things. I know that there's someone here that we're friends with that actually caretakes for us when we're gone because we have our house out here on Airbnb. And so she caretakes when we're not here. Like if a guest comes, then she'll like be the contact person and she'll get the place ready for us and then make sure it's all okay after they leave and all that. She literally could do any of that stuff. Like totally could fix the tractor, fix the ratchet reel grinder turner thing. She could do all of that because I know she has conversation with Tim here about things like that. And I'm like, I'm out. I have no clue what you're talking about. So yes, there are exceptions to that, but I feel like, yeah, I mean, I'm like, okay, where we are. And I don't really I'm not that person that thinks like, well, just because I'm the woman, that should mean blah, 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 so that's not me. So I think that like for me, I'm 55 now too. We've been married for 28 years and I'm comfortable with where things are and the gender roles that we play in our marriage, and how that works. I mean, I guess there are times when I'm like, well, how come you can't do this? Or why? I don't say this to him, but in my head, I think it. But then I guess when it comes down to it, I'm comfortable with where things are. And I suppose that's like the lesson is that if you are good in your marriage with how things are and you are comfortable with the chores you do and the chores your husband does or your spouse does, then I think you are like you're all good. But it is just kind of interesting with the different generations how things change. But also I was going to talk about like yeah, I mean, I've definitely been noticing it, and I think I've even touched on it in past episodes. But and it just occurred to me because I was watching a TV show. I don't remember which one it was anymore. I don't even think it was a reality show, believe it or not. But about how I don't know some woman in the show who was like, "Oh yeah, just wait till you reach your 40s, and that's when I became the most confident, and you just need to reach your 40s because that's when that happens." And I was like, I don't. That wasn't true that wasn't true for me. And I don't know. I just feel like it, what do I even want to say? I just feel like I have never reached a certain point in my life where I have just felt like now I'm secure. Now that this has happened in my life, I just feel more secure. And I don't mean secure like financially. I'm talking about like insecurities, like internal insecurities. And I don't know, I guess it's just something that I struggle with and I've always struggled with. And I don't know that I'll ever not struggle with them. And I mean, I pray about it. I mentioned back early in the year about how I got the Let Them theory, Mel Robbins' book. And I did complete the book, and I definitely think about it on a daily basis and the things that she talked about in there. And I really think that of all things, that's been the most beneficial thing to help me. And because I think that my insecurities so much lie in what other what other people think or what I think other people think of me. And I do the comparison thing too with not even just social media, but also TV and things like that. And I've always been guilty of it. Always, always, even when I was reading my Us Weekly, back long ago before social media. But I just have such a trouble with looking in the mirror and only seeing like the bad things, like my sick eyes or whatever the hell happened to this body that I used to have. And no matter what I do now, it's gone, which I think has really, really weighed heavy on me in the past year. And I'm blaming that on menopause. And I want to sort of blame a little of the insecurity stuff I have in my head now. Like that seems like sometimes it's worse on menopause just because of the hormonal changes and all of that. Because I again am always first of all, let's focus on the body thing. So, like I used to I've always been critical of my body. I always look at my body and I always want to be able to improve things. But like in retrospect now, and especially when I look back at pictures, I was like, wow, I mean, I looked pretty good. Like, granted, I work out every day. I've always been really like diet conscious, calorie conscious, I should say. And I've always watched that. I've not always been the most clean eater, but at least everything in moderation type of eating. And I really look back at pictures now and think, oh, like, where did that body go? And how did it change so much? Because I really haven't changed that much. I still work out every day. I still watch my portions. And, like I used to, if I felt like over Christmas, if you gain 5 pounds, I would really be strict about my diet for 2 months and easily, and the weight would be gone, not even 2 months, probably a month, and the weight would easily be gone and maybe then some. And it doesn't work that way anymore. Like if I see myself in the mirror and I just am like I know I've gone up 2 pant sizes since I turned 50, and I'm 55 now. And but and like I'm not fat. I'm not saying I'm fat. I'm not saying I'm huge. I'm just saying for me, my body has changed and it just looks different now. And it just looks softer and flabbier. And like I was the same jean size like prior to 50 for ever. I mean, except for when I had kids, I would always get that weight off and I'd be right back into my jean size, my normal jean size, and which I like. And then all of a sudden, those started getting a little tighter. So I went up, and now basically I'm up, like I said, 2 jean sizes since I've turned 50. But I've not done anything different. I've not stopped working out. I've not started eating more. I'm probably eating the same. And now I feel like I've been more conscious of it and I'm trying to be healthier with what I eat and cut back on like sugar because that's tempting to me. But I don't feel like anything's changing. Like I look in the mirror and it's still the same. I don't think my jeans are getting any looser. And it's like I can't compute that in my head. And it's really hard for me to look in the mirror and not, feel like I look like enormous when I know I don't look enormous, but it just is what I do. Again, even when I had this very thin body that I didn't appreciate enough back when I had it, like I would still look at myself and think, ugh. Now it's like exponentially. And so like that's just been really hard for me. And I know that that's the metabolism change. And I know that that's, these things that you can't really control. And like so many women have the problem. But I also think it's like other things that I just am so paranoid about. And it is like what people think of me. And I worry about being cringy and annoying. And I worry like if someone doesn't text me back in the correct, I know I've talked about this subject before, but what I'm saying, I guess, is that I that stuff has not improved with me with age. When someone says, "Oh, you reach a certain age and that gets better," maybe it does for some people, but for me, it really hasn't. I feel like I'm just as insecure with these things that I have been talking about that I was when I was 25 or 35 or 45. Like those things have not improved with age for me, and I guess I don't know why. Maybe it's just intrinsically in me. I like to portray, and I like for my kids, and especially like my daughter, I don't want to like showcase these insecurities, so that she doesn't have the same insecurities. I mean, obviously she's an adult now, but I'm talking about like when she was younger and things like that. But I know that I had to. I know that I was maybe good at it sometimes, but not good at it other times. And I don't know. I guess I just mention it because, I don't know if it's something that women don't like to admit, or if there is just a lot of women who are that confident and don't have all these insecurities, or if they, just don't like to talk about them or open up about it. But it is real. At least it's real with me. So if you are going through it yourself, like you're not alone. I have insecurities about this podcast, and I have insecurities about like having wanted to start an Instagram influencing account back way like years ago, and that never materializing. I think I always have these like parts of me that, like, I don't know that I've ever, I think part of it, no, it's not part of it, but this is another insecurity of mine that I never have, since I graduated college, just like gotten a job on my own based upon my own skill set and interviewing for a job and getting the job because I was qualified to get it. Because as soon as I got out of college, I went to work for my family's business. And then as soon as we moved, and I moved up to Wisconsin, and then things like after a couple years, I did not work any longer at my family's business and then start working for Tim immediately. And so, like I always have that like feeling of like, would I even, and if I would not work there anymore, and if I would go try to get a job, I don't even know, like, what would I do? I'm not, I don't even know what to do with a resume. I don't like zero qualifications for anything that I would want to probably do to finish out my life. That's something I really enjoy. Like, I don't know. It's like, and like you think that, and you think, well, why do you even care? Because you are where you are, and I feel blessed where I am and for what I have. Believe me, I do. But I can't help these like thoughts that go through my head and be like, and which then in return makes me feel like not enough somehow. I don't know. I think that sometimes I just use this podcast as a venting avenue for myself to talk to myself into my computer. And if one person listens or if 80 million listen, I guess that's just like a byproduct of this podcast. But yeah, so sometimes that's how I feel like I use this podcast as a little bit of my own, just like you're my therapist, although you don't talk back to me and give me any advice or tell me I'm normal or not. I'm just like telling myself, I guess. But anyway, so yeah, and I guess I'm also doing it in the hopes that if there's even one other person who's like, oh my God, I feel the same way, thank God, then I've done my work. But yeah, I've always been like, I think, a very self deprecating kind of person. And yeah, I there you go. So I don't know. Is this menopause brain? Is it just me brain? Is it just something that I will probably always have as uh, a fault of mine? Is the insecurities and always thinking I'm not quite, good enough or whatever. I don't know. Um, but yeah, those are a little bit deeper topics than I sometimes get into. But there we go. Yeah, yay, fun. All right, so reality TV. Let's get into some reality TV or some TV in general for the week. So, I mainly have been immersed in Bravo as far as reality TV this week because in the evenings, Tim and I still have been binge watching Peaky Blinders. And I think on the last episode, I talked about Love Overboard and he and I watching that. So since then, we just picked up Peaky Blinders, and we only have now two. So officially we've watched 34. Oh my God. Wow, when I put it that way, that sounds terrible. We have watched 34 episodes, and those are hour-long episodes of Peaky Blinders since we have been out in Idaho because we now only have 2 episodes left. And those episodes, because it's 6 seasons, 6 episodes per season, and we have 2 episodes left in the whole series. So we have nearly finished it. We watched the Peaky Blinders movie, which just came out a few weeks ago, and which made us rewatch the series because we had watched it once. But now that I've rewatched the whole series, I want to go back and watch the movie to see how many references they have in the movie that did reflect back into the series that I didn't catch because it had been so long ago that I watched the series. But I'm telling you, if you have not watched Peaky Blinders, I mean, like I said, it is definitely dark. It's not in any way, shape, or form any kind of a comedy, but it's a dark show, but it is such good writing. The acting is just phenomenal. It keeps your attention every single episode. Almost it feels like every single episode is cliffhanger ending that you wonder what the hell is going to happen. The characters are developed so well. It's just such a good show. It really, really, really is so good. So I highly recommend it. It is on Netflix. But besides that, so we've had some big, for you Bravo fans, is pretty much what the rest of this podcast will be about. But we have had some big summer house uh, dramas come up in the past week or since I've had my last podcast, and I talked a little bit about it. But in Summer House, currently we are watching Amanda and Kyle's marriage sort of fall apart during the show. Right? We went into this show knowing that they were separated and divorced. So everyone was kind of like anticipating watch the demise of their marriage during the season. What we didn't know was going to happen was for the past good 3 weeks, maybe even a little bit more, there have been rumors on the internet about Amanda and West, like maybe there being a thing between them. And West even went as far as he was on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, and Andy actually asked him about the rumors. And he flat out said, now, when you go back and watch, because I did, he doesn't say we're just friends, there's nothing going on. Like, he doesn't emphatically say that. What he says is, man and I are friends. We're friends. Like that. So I feel like he did that because they have both come out publicly and admitted with the same PR statement that they are involved and that they are having in a relationship, and that they didn't say anything prior to this because they were just trying to like see, it was new, they weren't sure what was happening, and they wanted to just like feel it out and see what was happening and if it could be more. So I feel like when he said that on Watch What Happens Live, he was safe to say that because he didn't say we're just friends and there's nothing going on. He said, Amanda and I are friends. We're friends. And um and so like he's kind of safe to say that because they are friends. But there's also a little bit else going on. It was only a few days later when they came out with that statement after he was on Watch What Happened Live. Watch What Happens Live. Kyle Cook has been interviewed since then, and he even like says that in whenever he made his statement, he's like, I can't believe that Wes even like went on Watch What Happens Live and like acted like they were only friends, and and then just a few days later come out with the fact that they are. So there's a lot of they're getting a lot of heat and a lot of hate. I think both he and Amanda, because obviously West is on Summer House as well. We also see a lot of like knowing all this and watching back. West is really defensive of Amanda, and when Kyle and Amanda get in fights, West is always like really being there for Amanda, and everyone is like so curious whether there was already something going on back then. That part has not been confirmed or talked about. There's timelines of like the Super Bowl and of him being seen with Amanda, but also being seen with Ciara around that time. That's the other big part, is that Amanda and Ciara are like best of friends. And on the show, they're making it seem like West is also kind of wishing he could rekindle he and Ciara's romance. And, but yet, and we see Ciara like not saying no, not saying yes, but also not saying no. And obviously her and Wes were involved a couple seasons ago, and so for Amanda to like go for West and West to go for Amanda when Ciara thinks that maybe something is going to be happening between her and West, and Amanda knowing how Ciara feels about West, like it's all very Scandival a bit, not nearly to the extreme, because like Ciara and West aren't currently dating, and they haven't been dating for years, like the Scandival situation, but it still is Scandival-esque, you know? Um, so it's kind of wild. I have been like really following it on my social media. It seems that a lot of people are coming for Amanda more than they are for West. Um, Kyle kind of said in his little statement about all of it, that's the part he doesn't like, is that everyone's coming for Amanda, and kind of seems like West is a bit not getting near the heat as Amanda is, and he doesn't like that. We've seen Amanda and Kyle together, like walking because they have dogs together, and it looked like they were walking their dogs together or exchanging dogs or something, and he gave her a hug. So it feels like Amanda and Kyle are still speaking. I don't think it appears that Kyle is also, if he's on team anybody, it's team Amanda. Um, so I don't know. It's all really, really wild. The thing that I think is the most interesting and is going to be absolutely fascinating is that the reunion for Summer House has not been filmed yet. And this all is obviously up for topic of discussion at the reunion. Um, Everyone knew going in that the reunion probably would be a lot of, because obviously it's real time, so that would be discussed that just Amanda and Kyle's separation and their divorce and all of that. However, we have a whole new discussion to have with the Ciara and West thing. And, like it seems that people are taking sides. Like Ciara has apparently unfollowed, obviously, both of them, which is understandable. And then Lindsay has unfollowed, I believe, both of them as well. Jesse Solomon won't just come out and say where he stands. Um, it's just all fascinating, and the reunion should just be so good, like so good. And Andy is really, really good at this and bringing up these topics and asking the hard questions and demanding the hard answers. And I just cannot wait to see how this reunion plays out. So I don't know how many episodes are in this season. So, but if they haven't even filmed the reunion yet, then there's got to still be at least a half a dozen episodes left for this season. But yeah, should be good. It makes for like you feel bad in their real lives that this is all happening, to each of them, and they've got no privacy in the matter. But then you kind of think like, okay, Amanda, I thought this. I'm like, can you not just be single for 2 seconds? I mean, her and Kyle, I think, have been together for like 10 years, married 7, if I'm not it's something like that. And so that puts her, I think, early 20s ish, since she's been single. And like, so you jump into a relationship like immediately, and it's with another castmate. Like, you live in New York City. Can you not, first of all, can you not just be single for a while and just have fun being single? And then can you not go outside your little box and not be with West? But there's also a lot of talk that West has been in other relationships since he's supposedly been in a relationship with Lindsay, including like suspicion that he had like hookups with both Amanda and Ciara at the same time. So like it's wild. And I'm sure we'll never, never, never know like the absolute truth and what the exact timeline is of stuff. But it's pretty wild. So, and fun fact, West is from Columbia, Missouri, which is where I went to college. He also went to Mizzou, where I went to school at University of Missouri, Columbia. So I think that's kind of funny, or not funny, but fun fact. Let's see. Okay, so we had Southern Hospitality. I'm not really going to recap. That's a little bit hard for me to recap, but I continue to enjoy this season. I just feel like on this show, it feels like they are really sort of unaware of cameras. I think they're all good at this on Bravo, but I I don't know. I like the drama. It's all younger people, and I shouldn't probably enjoy as much as I do being the old lady that I am, but it is entertaining for me. So we got that. We have Real Housewives of Beverly Hills this week. I know there's a lot of people that say that they think this season is not good at all, and that the only topic of dispute is like between Dorit and basically everybody else, almost seemingly. And but I don't know. I enjoy it. Beverly Hills always continues to be one of my favorites. There was a rumor that Lisa Rinna was speculated to be coming back next season, but I've heard her in an interview where she said that's not going to happen. So damn it. But there was a really great argument at a dinner table on this week's episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills that was between Dorit and it was mainly between Dorit and then Erica and Kyle. And like, if you haven't watched the episode yet, go back and watch it for sure. But it's so interesting to me because I wish that I could argue with people or debate people like Erica Jane does. Because I feel like Kyle, when she was arguing with Dorit and she had her part of the argument with her, she can become a little like wordy and a little flustered and maybe has intentions of saying it one way and says it in a way that maybe isn't so productive. But the way Erica Jane can debate or argue is so effective. She typically stays so calm. She has the best comebacks to the things that come at her, not just from Dorit to anybody. She can recollect things that enhances her argument because she can recollect something that was said or wasn't said from a previous debate or whatever. Um, but it was just fascinating, and I could have watched like about half the show was this debate they had at the table, and I don't, like I still like Dorit, I really do, but I think this is the first season. I've always kind of been Team Dorit in most arguments and have kind of sided with her in past topics of debate. But I will say in this current debate, which is her feeling like people are attacking her for no reason, I don't think is true. And I think that this is the first season where I don't agree with the arguments that she's coming at them with. And I think that what everyone else is seeing is more what I see. So this is the first episode where I'm getting kind of annoyed. I mean, the first season where I'm a bit annoyed with Dorit and how she's handling herself. And granted, she's going through this like hard divorce with her husband and all that. But yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of my thoughts on that subject. I'm hoping that next season this new girl Amanda isn't on anymore. Some people have said like, oh, she adds a lot to the show, and if it wasn't for her, this wouldn't be nearly the season it was. I completely disagree with that. I love the addition of Bose. I hope she stays for sure. And yeah, Rachel Zoe has been an absolutely amazing addition. Love her. Love watching her. She always has such actually good. I think if it wouldn't be for her this season, it wouldn't have been as good a season. But anyway, so that's that show. Then we have Real Housewives of Rhode Island that just started. And you guys, it is really, 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 really good. There was another episode on Sunday night that I have not watched yet. I think that's going to be its regular night. It premiered on Thursday night, like after Beverly Hills. And I think that was the reason it did, because it was after Beverly Hills. But I think it's regular night. It's going to be Sunday night. So I did not watch the Sunday night episode, but this is the one Ashley Iconetti is in. And I didn't know whether she was going to be a friend of, or she was going to be like one of the main cast members, but she absolutely is a main cast member. They even had this really cute, funny scene with her and Jared. They now own this little coffee bar kind of place in Rhode Island now, which this is where she was born and raised, is Rhode Island, which I don't think I knew that, but I believe that's right. Or at least I know she lived there for a while, but they opened this coffee shop there and they actually work it, and Jared works it quite a bit apparently. And so this was the scene, was her going to the restaurant and he was working and she was trying to talk to him about stuff, but he kept like handing coffees to people and making coffees while she was trying to talk to him. And it was very comical. But I will say that all the rest of the characters, which I can't remember all their names offhand, I'm still getting to know everybody, but I mean, I was invested from the very first show. And you're probably listening to me saying like, what show are you not invested in that's Real Housewives? But for real, they have some really good characters, and the women just seem like they're meant for this kind of thing. I love it. Dolores is in it, from Real Housewives of New Jersey, although she is, and I've heard that she's also going to be in, because there's like a cash shakeup in Real Housewives of New Jersey, which is where she comes from, and she's been on it for quite a while, and I don't think she's leaving that, so she's going to still be a main cast member there, but she is a friend of on Rhode Island. But these women are hilarious. They have great banter, very entertaining, super entertaining. I love it. So definitely recommend getting into that one too, and giving it a chance. So yeah, I think that just about touches on everything. I, probably will not get back to you until I am back home again, but you know what? I might be grandma by the next time I talk to you guys. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I can't wait. I'm really, really, really hoping that she comes within a week or so, because then we'll we'll like be there already because we're going to fly back into Minneapolis, which is close to where they live. And it would be really, really great, little Stevie Rose, if you would just come around the time that we're flying in so that we can just be there. Anyway, I'm very, 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 very excited to be a grandma and to hold my granddaughter. And I just can't wait. So could be by the time you hear me next that I will officially have a little granddaughter. But yeah, so thanks guys for joining me again. I really appreciate it every single time. Any help you can give me with following and subscribing and reviewing and rating and all of those things would really give me a lot of help and appreciation. So, yeah, hope you have a great week. And until I talk to you next time, be calm, be strong, be kind, and be grateful. Bye.